Welcome, everyone. This is SimTrax Broadcasting, guys, coming to you live here with the Coast2Coast Racing League. We're going to start something a little new here with this league tonight on a Thursday. The Xfinity Series, you guys may recognize me from the Tuesday league, running the 410s, including the Wingless Sport Warriors there at the beginning, and then the Truck Series. So tonight, after Marty Zakala gets the UMPs, the 358s, and the Pro Late models, we're going to take the guys off the dirt, and you guys are going to join me here on the asphalt. Right now, we're taking a look at the number 48 of Roland Olsen, Gold Dog Bone winner of the week here so far for his Tuesday night showing. Passing, I believe it was 26 cars and coming out with a third-place finish at Texas earlier this week on Tuesday. So we're going to see if that 48 car of Roland Olsen has anything for us for the Salty Dog team and see if he can actually repeat this, which would be really for a dog term, off the chain, for him to go ahead and really kind of squeeze one out here. A lot of other drivers we've seen out here before that are going to go ahead and give it a shot as well. Roger Craig in the 747 will be out here. Believe Bill Calder in the 325, so we've seen him. Zach Chapman in the 72. He's looking to continue his hot streak. Robert Lynch in the 121. So a lot of fast drivers out here. Who I want to talk with is actually Brandon Ishkanyon in the 19. Kind of see how this compares to the two different other cars. I have seen him sitting in pit for a little bit here, but hopefully we'll kind of be able to tune into him here in just a little bit as soon as I know he is up and moving. But we'll see what he's got for us out here in the 19 Spree Chevrolet. These guys are going to go ahead and try to give it a little, kind of weed it out here just a little bit. Try to shake off all the dirt and go ahead and get ready for the asphalt here. Like I said, it's a lot different that these guys need to kind of take it easy into the turns rather than dirt. You want to kind of send everything you've got and use the momentum of the car to carry you through. Not in this case. So we're going to keep an eye on that sort of options for the rest of these drivers out here. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we've got coming into tonight. What our race conditions are here at Texas Motor Speedway. I believe about 60 laps we'll be having there for tonight. Look at that, sitting there with a 5. What am I doing here? 60 laps will be tonight. Unlimited tires, 50% fuel limit. So I guarantee you we're going to need at least one green flag stop here tonight, and they'll at least have 2 fast repairs for these guys that are getting bent up. For guys who are coming off the dirt, giving their shot here tonight in the Xfinity League, they've got to keep in mind is temperature of the track. Being 68 degrees, that is going to be a huge factor tonight of whether those tires seat in or not. If those things take a lot longer to heat up, they're not going to stick. And I think a big problem we're going to see is guys coming out of turn 2. They'll pick up a lot more speed coming off of turn 4 into 1, kind of with this tunnel turn configuration that we're running here. But we'll have to, kind of keep an eye on what in the world they're going to do coming into tonight here at Texas. So I know this 1.5-mile track in Fort Worth, this is one of the ones interesting to see. Began in the spring of 95 and required more than a movement of 4 million cubic yards of earth before it was completed the following year. So keep in mind how long that was. I believe the first race was in 1997 by Mark Martin in the Nationwide Series. So I believe he won that one. And then the Cup Series is where Jeff Burton raced on the Sunday, and that actually sold out over 200,000 seats. So a lot of people have found success here in the big time, especially Kenny Irwin. Dale Earnhardt Jr., he won the Nationwide Series there in 98, and then 2 years later, he won it in the Cup Series. So they have reconfigured this track, though. They've taken about 8 degrees section in the dual banking on the turn. So a lot of these guys are having that long sweeping turn rather than having that extra stage of being able to kind of hook around this turn. So with it being a lot different, I think that what they would call it is a legacy track, but not here and not now. But I believe qualifying is underway. We'll take a look here at some of our guys on the track. Let's see, I believe John Hine in the number 71 car. He's out here. Let's see how he handles on his first lap. definitely keep an eye on that for sure. Kind of watch. He is one of our first guys out here. Class A license, so we should see a good showing out of him. Aiden Young with a super fast time, 30.31. Good shot there. That's about as fast as our guys in the truck series were running on Tuesdays, but tire fall off will be quick. I know Preston Cranmer in the 07. We had a chat with him. I believe he scored pole last round. But due to some fuel issues, these guys ended up getting stumbling here. So let's see how John Hine handles it. City in 8th now. Finishes his second lap. And just a little bit faster with a 30.83. So I'll go ahead and reinstate him back into the 7th position. And let's see if he's got anything more. Right now, Aiden Young with a 30.23. Fast time out of him. Robert Lynch coming around for his second turn. And actually, a perfect line here, if you keep an eye on Lynch, is actually you want to hit that at that higher side and kind of be able to stay a lot more conservative around the turn. You get down toward the bottom, kind of bumping the edge of that white line. It's going to wear that right front tire out pretty quickly. And what I'm interested to see is right there, whoa, easy there, Zach Chapman in the 72 car. Is he kind of bump that white line, and that's exactly what you're going to see, is you're going to nudge it there just a little bit, and then he's going to really be fighting it for the rest of the race. But that goes ahead and takes him from a 14th spot to 2nd. Good move here by Zach Chapman. That's exactly what you want to see. Kind of rotate up that turn and let the car come to you. Back to Brandon Ishkan in the 19 Chevrolet. Right now sitting in 6th. Let's see if he's got anything on this final stretch. Oh, man. Yeah, just a little bit slower. About 60 thousandths of a second slower. On that last lap there. Steven Spees hanging out in 9th. Right now, I'm not seeing anybody rolling around. Dan McLaren out here. I know he is, I believe, in 2nd place in the Truck Series. 2nd to Bob Light. I do not see Bob Light out here. Boy, that would be a show to get him out here on a Thursday night. Hopefully we'll kind of see how these other drivers kind of hang it up and handle tonight. About another minute in qualifying. And we'll see what we've kind of got narrowed down here and who's feeling pretty confident. And I want to have a chat, like I said, with Brandon Ishkanyon here and see if we can kind of talk to him about where he is comparing to what we saw on Tuesday. Let's see. Brandon Ishkan, you got a copy? Oh, no. Come on, Brandon. You got a copy on me here, bud?
I do, man. What's up?
All right, man. Dude, I talked to you Tuesday more than once, and now I think you're calmed down from Tuesday. How is this compared to the trucks?
Holy smokes. Holy, back up the corner.
Yes.
That's really where it's at. Turn 1 and 2, you got to back up the corner a lot more in turn 1 and 2 than you do in the trucks.
Yeah, you do have a lot more speed coming off that front stretch there. Yeah, no, qualifying is kind of getting ready here and gridding up, but seeing how Tuesday went, bud, are you packing a couple gallons of fuel next to you?
Man, so that's the second time that's happened to me. I looked back and saw Chris when he pitted, and I kind of thought to myself, yeah, he pit really early. And then I see why he pit really early. I'm more impressed with the fact that I drove back up to the field and to finish, where I finished, because I did, keep in mind I was back to like 26. So, but this is different, man. I don't really run the B cars too much, so this is gonna be tough for me.
All right. Well, they definitely handle very well, but keep hey. One advice from the outside: take care of that right front tire, man. Trust me, it'll last you a lifetime if you do.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Thanks.
All right, Brandon. Good luck to you tonight.
Thanks, bud.
All right, let's get him back down to ESW. Where is ESW race team? He's going to be on the ESW race team, I believe, with Jeremy Tate and Preston Cranmer, kind of the Epsilon racing team. So we'll see what they have for us so far. Not much time for these guys to go ahead and get gridded up, but let's go ahead and get it done. Aiden Young starting on the front with Zach Chapman. Preston Kramer starting third with Dan McLaren in the fourth position. Robert Lynch starting fifth. I'll actually see him race Saturday as well. We just talked to Brandon Ishkanyon, who's starting in sixth. Jeffrey Kemper seventh. Chris Schaefer, winner of Tuesday Night Truck Series, starting in eighth. Steven Speed starting 9th, Jim Bowie into 10th. Roger Craig, 747 of the Salty Dogs Racing Team, starting in 11th, the highest one here so far for tonight. Pat Boyce starting into the 12th position. Let's rotate to the back half of the field here. From 12th, we got John Hines starting 13th, Jeremy Tate 14th, Steven Bixler, all right, starting in 15th with Neil Strausser in the 16th position. John Rayner starting 17th, Bill Calder into the 18th. So we'll see if Bill Calder can go ahead and get turned up and rotate his way toward the front here with Bob DeGood starting 19th, Roland Olsen. All right, we saw how he did, placing third into the Tuesday series. He's starting 20th. And that, I believe, should round out our field here. 20 drivers showing up on the first race of Tuesday night. Not too bad of a showing. I know once the word gets out here at Coast to Coast, that's definitely we're going to see these guys really pass it around here and be able to give a good shot, and I think the numbers will pick up. Interesting to see Aiden Young. I did take a peek in on Marty Zacala's broadcast there, and right now I think Aiden Young's kind of got a chip on his shoulder after that pro late model issue. I think he ended up getting clipped there, but he's going to take us to the green flag here, and away we go. Barney's waving the green flag, and off he goes right around the first little bend here, and we're going to see if these guys kind of squeeze together as they dive into turn one. Right now, Dan McLaren, I'm picking him probably. I know I'm supposed to be, not taking sides, but right now I kind of got my money here on Dan McLaren or Preston Cranmer in the 07 to really turn this up in, on its head here to take the win for the race. But if I'm not mistaken, I believe, we are under caution here. I believe something happened back here with Steven Bixler. Oh, wow. Massive shot to the number 75 Chevrolet. And that may end his night very quickly. But fortunately, ladies and gentlemen, keep in mind, we do have we got quick repairs here. So these guys will have a chance to kind of slap it back together. And that's the only thing I was worried about, is us rolling out of two if we're going to start getting collected up in any sort of issues. So let's go ahead and take another look at what happened here to kind of cause the yellow flag. Not 100% sure, but let's take a look here at the 75 machine. Ooh, boy. That was a hard stop right there. All right, let me rotate that back, kind of figure out what happened here. Let's take another look at it from our chase cam in the chopper. Oh, the 41 got way up the track. 71 of John Hine gets a massive shot right there. I believe that is a 63 of Jeremy Tate. 302 is kind of a sitting duck here. That's not looking good. What? It kind of took him in the wall and then slung him back. All right, massive damage to that 75 machine. Fortunately, he'll be able to bring it down pit, get it fast repaired, and back out front. No issues with Steven Bixler so far. Like I said, he is surviving out back onto the track. About another lap, and we'll go ahead and get this one back under green. Bixler only down four spots, so that's not too shabby. Pat Boyce here. He's still down pit at this point. I don't know if he's not getting his fast repair. Seeing that they got two of them, I definitely would take one. Seeing John Hine, I know he probably took one as well. And you hate to fry him off so early. I mean, so early. But these guys are, I believe, getting double stacked here already. Definitely want to get the racing underway. Not time to double stack just yet. Leader has the choice while the lights are on to pick inside or outside lane. Once the pace car lights are off, we'll double stack and get ready to get back under green. And Barney can go ahead, get rid of that yellow flag, and get that green waving again. I don't know about you guys, but I am not a fan of pace laps. The faster, the better, for sure. Definitely that is where the racing, I don't see much passing during a caution. So far, a lot of guys passing. Roland Olsen up another 6 positions in the 14th. Bob DeGood up 6 positions in the 13th. Roger Craig only up 1 position. He's at least broken into the top 10 here. So at least some decent movement here. Let me see if I can turn on this snazzy little gadget right there, and you guys will kind of see what I'm talking about. Where our guys are moving here so far. Steven Spees, Aiden Young, and Zach Chapman are the only guys who have yet to move on the track at this point. So got to be feeling pretty good about that. Not too bad. We're originally scheduled for 50 laps, but man, I think Roger Craig may be feeling a little giving tonight, especially since it is the Hall of Fame tonight. I believe we are going ahead and crowning somebody for the Hall of Fame, if I'm not mistaken. It should have been Jeff Barker at Weed Sport today during the 358 division. Yes, I am correct. Jeff Barker. I know I've called for him a couple of times, and great to see him make it into the Hall of Fame, especially with some of those stats that Roger Craig kind of, says. Just, unfortunately, how many runs he's made without a P1, and but I mean, turning over 20,000 laps and participating in almost 1,200 races. That is that's a bunch. I mean, that's a bunch. They say he's been here since 2019. So I mean, running how many races a night? That's impressive, especially when you're maximum if you're doing a heat and then a feature. He's running 30 laps per division. Yeah, I'll let your mathematicians kind of figure that one out. But pace car lights are out. Aiden Young, Zach Chapman here in the front. Going to go ahead and get us restarted here. And we'll try it one more time. Braden Michael out there. Hi. Hey, how's it going, bud? Glad to see you out here. Hopefully you'll head to c2crl.com and we'll see what we get going here. I want to take a look actually at Preston Cranmer's vehicle here. Let me see if I can get a closer shot. From what I'm told through the league, Preston Cranmer's paint job here was colored by his son Eli. Very cool. They're in the number 7. Let's take another couple angles at it here. Looks good. I love it. I love it. I was going to say, if my kids had any of that kind of artistic ability, I would do the same. Let them draw on the car. Looking pretty snazzy. All right, Preston Cranmer. Right now, Preston Cranmer doing a great job so far. Hanging out in the 4th position. Hopefully we'll get something going here. Wait for it. Wait for it. All right. You see the stack up at the line. Definitely a little miscue by some of the drivers as they file double wide heading down the front stretch here, dialing into turn 1. Hopefully some of these guys will kind of get this squared away. Like I said, definitely a hard stretch for some of these drivers. Let's rotate to the back where we see some of that mess does start to happen. Looks like everybody's staying nice and clean here so far. First time out of there. Right now we're seeing the 23 of Chris Schaefer getting in the back of Brandon Ishkanyan in the 19. Good actual shot here by our top chopper view. Hopefully we're able to kind of sneak our way in here and get a good angle. We'll get back down on the track in just a moment as I take a look here at Dan McLaren giving another nudge here to Zach Chapman. Especially after some of that racing that we saw in Michigan. Zach Chapman's not real happy to see that 88 behind him now. In a case, yes, but in a case, no. He doesn't want to see that 88 kind of get into him again. Hopefully, like I said, Dan McLaren felt terrible about it, and hopefully he's going to go ahead and return the favor. Right now, we saw Jeffrey Kemper coming off of 4, clipping that wall there a little bit, so he's going to be dealing with a little bit of damage on that 181 to already kind of start factoring in here. The last thing I'd want to be doing is battling damage on this track so early. So he's got to be careful and really look at the longevity of the race at this point. I was going to be a little afraid we were going to be running a bunch of caution laps tonight, but right now everybody doing fantastic work out here. Really not getting into each other. Everybody doing it, getting their own line, being fast and getting around the track here so far. Yeah, looking good at this point. Dan McLaren over half a second off the lead. Gonna have to try to run him down. Steven Speeds with the fastest time here of a 30.80. So right now that 55 machine's getting around here pretty well. And if he does really well here in the Xfinity, I'm sure we'll see him with a new paint job there. Running the black and blue at this point. Yeah, take a look at Ish Canyon here. Looks like he's going to be battling on the inside of Zach Chapman. Let's get a little closer. Kind of see this battle here. Was he fighting for that third position? Chevrolet right now, 30-4. 72 tries to come down on the 19. Good check by the spotter and that left mirror. Whoa, man. Zach Chapman nice and easy there, bud, as you see him fire out of 4 into the tunnel turn now. As they get wound up back for 1. Had a little chat with Brandon here in the 19. We talked about a little bit of tire savings at this point and taking that low line. You can run it for a little while, but not forever. We've already got the 75. We see the 75. Steven Bixler down there toward the bottom, maybe a lap down at this point. 4 laps down. Ended up in some problems farther into the race, and now he's going to be dialing it back. Good job by him actually kind of ducking out of the way and allowing these guys to continue battling. Hats off to him at this point. Right now, still battling. Brandon Ishkenya for that third spot. He's got it, he does it. He has it, he doesn't. And they kind of swapping back and forth. But Zach Chapman really, at this point, for his line, he's saving his tires at this point. I don't know how long the 19 can hold on. He's got to battle him here. And, oh, he doors him. Zach Chapman dives a little bit down farther into that 19's outside door to let him know he's there. But it looks like that is going to calm down. Preston Cranmer battling here for the 5th position from the 23 of Chris Schaefer. Seeing how well he did in the trucks, he is moving up quite nicely. 2 positions up right now, looking for a 3rd there on Preston Cranmer. But Cranmer says, you're not going to pass me. I'm going to jam you into Zach Chapman. So Zach Chapman right now in the 72. Kind of falling back here a little bit, 2 positions from where he started. Let's see what we can get done here so far. A couple shuffles on the track. I know back here with John Rayner, they had some shuffling as well in the 302, his Chevrolet. And he's starting to see a good stack up in front of him here. We'll see what he can accomplish. You definitely kind of getting this chase cam here. It's kind of cool to see as you guys can see kind of the different angles and where they are moving around the track. Not just kind of the static view we get to see, but check on the bottom there. I believe that is the 058 of Jim Bowie there. Moving around here so far, and you see the tunnel turn. Some guys have hit that grass. You already see it getting cut out, so definitely keeping the landscaper in business, and away we go. So right now, John Rayner in the 15th spot, trying to see if he can pick up a few more. He gives a shot to Roland Olsen there, who is already still up 6 positions in the 14th, but trying to see if he can find a couple more. But right now, man on the move, right now up 7 positions, is Neil Strausser in the 68. He's seeming to do fine. He has no problem here as he's getting dialed around. Keep an eye on the ticker in the top. I believe Preston Cranmer and Brandon Ishkanyon are still battling it out a good bit here. And I think Zach Chapman may have had to dial it back. I think Preston Cranmer, something happened there. Yeah, not 100% sure. I believe Preston Cranmer, he was battling up toward the front. I don't know if something happened. Per my ticker, it says he may have gotten into the wall. Yeah, he passed Chris Schaefer for 5th. And then he passed Zach Chapman for 4th. And then all of a sudden, everybody kind of passed him at that point. So let's take a look back real quick and see what we got. Malcolm Mills mill riding replay here. Let's take a look, see what happened to Preston Cranmer. Everything looks A-okay so far. Ooh, Zach Chapman with some speed, little nudge. Oh, and just got him loose. Yeah, and that's all it takes. Just a little nudge right there, and that sends him the rest of the way back on the track. Oh. Yeah, just made it end up in more trouble here as he just keeps dialing it back from there. And this is where we see him right in front of Robert Lynch. So let's go ahead and bring it back live. We see him battling once again with Robert Lynch here. Trying to see if he can find any sort of room. 3 wide. Robert Lynch has got to be careful there on the outside in the 121. Looks like he is doing a great job there on the outside. Almost 20 laps into this here, ladies and gentlemen. Not too bad. 1 caution right at the beginning. I think now everybody's getting pretty spread out here. Everything's looking okay. But Chris Schaefer with another hard shot into the door. Definitely see him taking a faster pair. And may have to short pit here to kind of make up some time to fight his way back to the front. Aiden Young still leading the race here in that 69 machine. Like I said, looking for something to prove out there on the track. That 69 Ford is leading by 2.5 seconds off the front nose of Dan McLaren. So right now he has got it. He knows exactly what to do, where to be at this point, and he's getting around the track. I mean, just perfectly. But interesting to see him taking that low line the entire time. So we'll keep an eye on him as well. Let's see if I can get back in that chase cam, kind of from the top. Yeah, we were looking before. That's kind of an aggressive turn, but right now it's holding out for him. And he's picking up time. Let's take a look back here at Dan McLaren. And he sees, and you see all the way at the top of your screen, that's Aiden Young. That's him trying to run him down here. But you almost see how Dan McLaren's, like that right side, tries to kick out on him a little bit here as he's trying to run him down. But each turn, he's losing about 1/10 to 2/10 a lap. So a lot of hard driving here by the 88 machine of Dan McLaren. Couple guys moving right now. Neil Strausser going ahead and battling right now with on the outside of Chris Schaefer, and he takes over. Neil Strausser up 8 positions now. So that'll be another Ford into the top 10, along with John Hine in the 71. We saw him get tangled up early in the race, and he is out here surviving. So right now, into the 10th spot is the 71 machine. Brandon Ishkane is still here in 3rd. Steven Spees, the detective, in 4th. And Preston Cranmer on the outside here from in the 5th place. So hopefully we'll see that 07 pick up a little more pace here. I definitely expect to see some different other things here. Roland Olsen right now is down pit road. He may be coming down and seeing if he can kind of offset the pit time. And I don't blame him, because it worked for him on Tuesday. He had enough fuel to stretch it to the end. And some of these other guys did not. But right now, Dan McLaren, he seems to be falling off here. Still has plenty of speed. But I'm not quite sure what just happened there. Just kind of see what happened. He was going around. He had no problem. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, we're kind of keeping an eye on that. Looks like he had some left rear damage out of that car. Right now, that is going to be awful for him at this point with that damage on the left rear and the right rear of that car. So I bet you he's getting a few shots here from some of these drivers out on the track. I don't know if those tires are starting to wear down, but downforce is not something you want to mess with here on the back of that 88 machine. Dan McLaren back now to the 4th place, and he's going to lose a couple more before he heads down pit at this point. We are almost to the halfway mark, and you kind of see Preston Cranmer still trying to find a hole to see if he can get around this 88 machine. Robert Lynch, he's squeezed around no problem right there in front of him. Just worked right on around him and still fighting. So Preston Cranmer finally gets around the 88 of Dan McLaren, and Dan may have to pit sooner than later, because the more he rides around with that damage, the more it's costing him at this point. So Dan McLaren's still out there. Jeffrey Kemper now in the pit. Bill Calder is now in the pit. So we got a couple more drivers out there considering the same thing. And I'm thinking that pit window's starting to open. We are reaching about that halfway mark. And you just hate to see it, as now Dan McLaren about to fall victim to Neil Strausser in the 68. And that 68 will now be up 10 positions here so far. So right now, hardest charger of the race is that 68 machine of Neil Strausser in the Ford. Going around here, we're coming down the backstretch of this 1.5 miles here so far. Robert Lynch up into the 4th position. Steven Spees in 3rd. Brandon Ishkanyan holding a solid 2nd place. But he is about 7 seconds off Aiden Young, who is still out here tearing around, which is just amazing to me. Let's go ahead and take a look if I've got her. Ooh, I do not. Yes, I do. There it is. Is our track map here. So we are taking a look at the 69 machine. You kind of see the little bubble of the 69 riding up, I believe, on the back end of Jeffrey Kemper in the 181. And then you'll see the 19 car who's getting ready to pass the finish line right now. And then you see where Aiden Young is actually between 1 and 2. So just the amount of separation before Brandon Ishkanyan can run him down here. I don't know really what it's going to take to slow this number 69 car down, but he's making it happen out here. Lap in and lap out. I haven't seen much slowdown. His best time was a 30.73, and his last time was a 31.92. But right here he comes, right down pit road at this point. As long as he can stay in a good position coming down pit. I want to take a peek at him as we go here. We'll take a look at what he decides to do when he gets into his pit stall. Will he take 2? Does he take 4? He's got to take fuel to make sure he gets to the end here. Kind of watch him here and see what he decides to do. A lot of everybody else is coming down pit as well. Neil Strausser, John Hine, Dan McLaren, and Bob DeGood have decided to stay out at this point. John Hine did have to pit back on lap 2. But John Hine is coming in now at this point. Now Aiden Young takes off. Dan McLaren still hanging out there with that damage. He may want to kind of reconsider this here pretty soon. His fastest time was a 30.91. Last lap he ran was a 33.48. I don't know if he can really continue sacrificing 2.5 seconds per lap off his fastest time. He's got to come in, get that thing squared away, and get back out on the track. So he can run Aiden Young down. Because right now Aiden Young is about to be on a tear at this point, getting back onto the track. This may be our race winner here so far. I know it's only halfway and anything can happen. But at this point, Aiden Young is the fastest one on the track here all night. And I don't know if anybody can run him down. Definitely something to see. We kind of see Aiden Young flossing around here. Right now he's already taking the lead back and just is making the separation at this point. He just keeps going and going and going. And right now, showing on our ticker here, Brandon Ishkanyan is a bit behind him. He may be almost half the track at this point, squaring these guys away. Let's take a look at the positions here. Number 1 is where Aiden Young is. Number 2 is the guy in second place. And we've almost got about a half a track separation between these guys. But it is starting to mix up. I think a caution flag and everybody bunching back together, that would definitely kind of turn the tide here. But Preston Cranmer turning a fast time there of a 30.61 on that last lap. Super, super fast out of that 07. I think he's really kind of hammering for the second position spot. Or making sure he's got a favorable front line spot if we do happen to go back under a caution here toward the end. But really, so far, everybody kind of working around, getting around everybody, squaring everything up, and just picking their line and getting in, and getting around. Quick check-in on Dan McLaren sitting back there in the 10th position. He's going to be kind of fighting his way back toward the front. Biggest mover of the race still is Neil Strausser. He lost a couple positions coming in the pit, hanging out there an extra lap. So that drops him back down to the 8th position, where he was contending for 6th, if not the 5th. Whoa, Fastest time out there so far, and I'd show you guys here right now. Check out the best times. Brandon Ishkanyon just nailed a 30.49 out there on the track. So right now he is still on a tear, trying to see if he can run him down here. But he'd have to have almost half a second per lap to catch up at this point to reel in Aiden Young. I think Aiden Young may be kind of cruising around at this point, and is just kind of really honestly take it easy. Getting around the track, especially, he even had a fast pit stall time, Aiden Young did, with a 14.72 with Brandon Ishkanyon here with a 15.53. So maybe a little extra time out of that 19 machine. So far, so good. Everybody kind of spreading out here a little bit. Not too many battles going on. Everybody really kind of minding their P's and Q's, stretched apart. Guys, if you were looking to join into the Xfinity League here, where I'll be calling this one, go to c2crl.com and go ahead and apply for the Xfinity League, and you should be able to square in to race here for Thursday nights. I believe they're considering starting about 9 o'clock, but we'll kind of get that hammered out depending on turnout. Right now, with 20 guys out here at this point, everything's looking good, especially when I believe even Tuesday nights we are running at 30 in the truck series. So a lot of guys coming out of the dirt and onto the asphalt at this point. Few guys coming down pit, and keep an eye on what we see on the ticker. Is only the top 12 at this point are on the lead lap. If Aiden Young's running about 31 second times, the next person in line will be Roger Craig. And he's got to be careful. So I know right off the back, off his back bumper here, he's going to be watching Aiden Young kind of run him down here. And that might be him right behind him. Should be Aiden Young going ahead and getting across the finish line. That is him. As you see him kind of chasing down Roger Craig there. We see him up at the top of our screen. That is the guy who he's running down next, and that will actually put all but the top 11 down down a lap here, and that is going to be interesting to see where he, how he's getting around the track. Right now, Aiden Young is on a tear with almost 13-second lead time, and putting on a clinic here tonight, really showing everybody how to get around this track. This is something. All right, we're going to kind of spend a little bit of time here on lap 42. We're going to kind of stretch it here to about that lap 40, 45, about 46 mark. We're going to kind of tune into the cars here a little bit, kind of give a quick listen in of what's going around here on the track. We know Steven Spies is battling there toward the bottom, seeing if he can squeeze it out. Darren McLaren is going to battle his way through the middle. Around he goes and back out toward the front. So let's take a quick look there at Dan McLaren as he's sliced his way back into 7th position. Now he's going to really challenge Zach Chapman as well. But let's go ahead and tune into these guys and kind of tune back into these guys and kind of listen how they're getting around the track as we're watching Dan McLaren fire around these turns, having no problem here. But we'll crank it up here and let's give it a listen in. All right, everybody, and we are back in a crazy turn of events. It looks like almost our front 5 drivers had to come back down pit road here. Brandon Ishkanyon, including Aiden Young, Preston Cranmer, and Jeffrey Kemper, all had to come back down pit. I think some of them may be realizing they are not going to make it. You would think they would. But I'm not 100% sure why everybody has come down pit at this point, which has now put Robert Lynch into the front. Seeing him dialing back, allowing everybody to go around, that definitely means he's coming down pit as well. Robert Lynch coming down pit. He's going to lose the lead, hand it on over to Dan McLaren, who's trying to see if he can outrun Chris Schaefer, who's almost right behind him. But so far, from what I saw from Dan McLaren slicing his way through the rest of this field, he's not going to have any problem at all. But Dan McLaren may have been able to upset part of this field. He last pit on lap 32. Some of these other guys did pit back on lap 30 to 31. So I don't know if maybe he has enough fuel to make it to the end. But I know this was a definite tangle up for some of the drivers that we saw on Tuesday. Is Brandon Ishkanyon, we had, Preston Cranmer. These guys ran out of fuel right at the end. Dan McLaren ran out of fuel, just wasn't able to squeeze it and make it all the way at the back end. If this is the same idea, kind of the same flavor that we saw, it's definitely a top off and go point. Seeing some of our pit times, I'll have those up on the ticker here in case anybody is tuning in. You see who took short times, and that may be kind of the make or break of this race. Is if they decide to short pit, try to change it up a little bit, they're going to go ahead and try another way. Look at, I believe that is actually Preston Cranmer here, if I'm not mistaken, looking to see if he can battle to get his lap back here, to get back onto the lead lap. And then that way Dan McLaren will actually be really kind of against the clock to see if that 07 is going to retain the lead from him when he gets around. But right now, Strausser is staying back about 1.2 seconds off the lead with only 9 laps to go left in this one. Oof. Looks like Preston Cranmer may have gotten into Dan McLaren here. Starting to dial it back. I don't know if something happened. Hopefully there's no damage to the front of Preston Cranmer. And you wouldn't think a little nudge like that. But, out here on iRacing and even, in any sort of league, the slight amount of damage can actually change the way your car runs and the way it races. So right now, just looking at last times, Cranmer it was a little bit slower that run, but there he goes, getting that huge run coming off of one into one out of 2, and he's going to take the inside. That should go ahead and put Preston Cranmer back on the lead lap here, as the 07 is doing everything he can to try to really tear his way forward. It might have been an idea to take only right side tires and fire around the rest of the turn here. If everybody, when they came down pit the first time, realized their left sides didn't really wear out, they may be able to go ahead and stay out there. But once again, we only have about 6 laps to go in this one. Dan McLaren's still leading the race. Preston Cranmer would almost need a rocket in the back to kind of save his race here, but he still has a solid top 10, along with one of the salty dogs here. Here's Roger Craig. There he is in the number 7, in the 747, running 7th. Maybe those 777s are working out for him at this point. Roger Craig last pit on lap 30. He's kind of all alone out here. There's somebody in the back. Looks like Brandon Ishkanyon, who's running in the 8th position. That is where Roger Craig is. Here in the 7th, and he's kind of all out by his lonesome here. There's Brandon. Rotating here, let's see where Bob DeGood is. We haven't talked much about Bob DeGood, but he's out here in the 9th position, rolling around in his 7 Chevrolet. Looking pretty slick out there. Let's take a quick little look at his paint job with Young Gun Creations. Seems like it's looking pretty good so far. Let me see if I can rotate to the other side. Malcolm Mills mill writing. Excellent. Really like that red on top of that car as well as we stick to it. 5 laps to go on this one. Rotating back up to Steven Spies into 55 in 5th. Everybody seems to kind of be linking up with their number at this point. Aiden Young has battled his way back into the 4th position. So far, so good. I don't know if he's got enough here. We'll take an eye on that time. As you see, just that turn, he saws off almost 2 to 3 tenths of a second. But yeah, he would almost need to pick up about 1.5 seconds per lap to get close to battle for a last lap run here. Dan McLaren still leading the race. About 2.5 seconds off Neil Strausser, who's in second. 14th place is where he, 14 places where he's picked up here tonight in that 68 machine. So far, so good out of Neil Strausser. Good move by him. I believe this will actually be the first time I will be able to talk to Neil here. As long as everything stays nice and clean out there. Aiden Young now into the 3rd. Still running him down. Right now, he's kind of got his eyes on Neil Strausser at this point. Gonna try to see if he can squeeze him in, but he's only got a couple more laps to get it done. Let's take a little look here on the top view here. See if we can get some separation from this Goodyear blimp. There he is. There's Aiden Young kind of reeling in Neil Strausser. And I think Aiden's going to be definitely looking for a lot of speed here. What in the world is going on? Aiden Young. Remember when I was talking about that rocket? Here he comes. Wow. The 69 of Aiden Young right now. Only 1.5 seconds off the lead. He may come in here and win this here in just a second. He is running down Dan McLaren in really just immense amount of speed. There's Dan McLaren there toward the top of our rung. Toward the top. He's railing him in. So he's got 1 lap to catch him here. And this is going to be a battle right down to the line as Aiden Young's trying to make sure it's not going to be at the line. White flag is out. Dan McLaren, he is not going to be letting off the loud pedal here as Aiden Young is running him down. 0.5 seconds now. Here he comes. Right to the inside here. Oh, man. What is Dan McLaren going to do in the 88 Chevrolet? Dan McLaren staying out front. Looks like he may have found a little more speed out of that car. Does Aiden Young have enough to reel him in? Rolling out of 4. Oh, Aiden Young didn't let off the gas and is going to have to settle for 2nd place. Wow. I mean, made up 6 seconds in almost 4.5 laps. The 69 machine of Aiden Young. What an immense amount of speed and just his driving style on that one was impressive. And Neil Strausser comes into the 3rd position. He survived. Excellent job by Aiden Young. But Dan McLaren brings home the win here tonight after that damage. I thought he was going to be in big trouble riding around out there with all that damage. But I'm curious to see why Aiden Young had to pit back on lap 45. That would be the first question I would probably ask him at this point, is why in the world did he have to pit? Because he was walking away with this entire race here. All right, as you see here, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at the results of our race. You kind of see that 11th down. It's all lap down. And I mean, a lot of fast drivers, just how many cars were getting mashed together, how many were kind of getting pushed in the same spot. And we'll see, we kind of see how that all unfolded here tonight. But if you guys kind of bear with me here in just a second, I'm trying to see if I can get Neil Strausser run down here. I'm not 100% sure where he is. But we are going to go ahead and give it a shot here a little bit. Dan McLaren here getting some of his burnouts in. Awesome. Awesome job. All right, we are chasing him down real quick. Like I said, these guys are definitely tough to find out here. But man, we'll definitely get them. I want to make sure we can go ahead and get straight to our second place finisher here, Aiden Young. Aiden, you got a copy? All right, man. I told some people that the first thing I've got to ask, we had to pit a second time, bud. What happened?
I don't know. I guess I just saved a lot more fuel than I did, but I tried.
Is that what it was? You ended up not having enough fuel.
Yeah, I wouldn't have made it.
Oh man, well definitely checking from your pit stall time and everything else. You kind of running them down. You made almost 6 seconds up in 4.5 laps there toward the end.
Yeah, just came up a little bit short.
All right, well definitely a great job there, my friend. I took a peek in there with you with Marty Zakala, and I hate to kind of poke the wound, man. I know the pro late models didn't work out for you. I know I've called for you a couple times, and you've won just about every single pro late model. But this is finally your shot here in the Xfinity League, coming in second. How's it feel starting off with 20 drivers and coming second?
It feels good. This is more of my bread and butter than the late models, so.
Ah, I would have taken you for a dirt guy.
No, this is where I started.
All right, man. Well, fantastic job here tonight. I think if we are following the truck series that is on Tuesday nights, I believe if you would join us for the Xfinities, if I'm not mistaken, we are at Talladega next week. How confident are you feeling into that super speedway?
Oh, the big one is going to happen everywhere.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, you guys do have that too fast repair limit, and that's kind of what you saw some of it happen tonight. I've got to know, especially from Dan McLaren, running around with the damage that he had, how in the world was he able to hold you off coming in much later than you did? But fantastic job tonight, bud. Aiden Young, go ahead and give me your shout-out, so bud.
I got to thank you guys for broadcasting always. Cool Ray that's on the hood and the sides of this thing, and just my whole family for letting me do this.
All right, man. Don't forget Young Gun Creations. They did a fantastic job on the front hood of that car. Great job tonight, Aiden.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. There is Aiden Young. Hopefully we'll be able to catch up with Neil Strausser here in the third place. See if we can get him into the booth. Neil Strausser, you got a copy? Come on, Neil. You got that? You got your mic fixed? Everything A-okay? Yes, no? Nope. Still fighting it. Still fighting it, which, of course, that means I'm going to run straight to our winner here tonight, Dan McLaren. Let's have a chat with Dan. Dan? What a race. What a race here, bud.
Yeah, that was a good one, eh? Except the little get-together with, I don't want to name names, but, yeah, a little get-together going into one. But just kept my cool and, got the win.
Yeah, I would say yes, keeping your cool, but I'm going to name some names. How nervous were you when you were kind of battling there with Zach Chapman again? I was afraid. I was like, oh, no, don't do it. Not the Michigan one again.
No, we race good. Water under the bridge now. But, yeah, us top four, even Ish Canyon, Preston, first 10 laps, we're all over each other. So that was a good run, but I had nothing for Aiden. I got luck on the fuel.
Yeah, I was going to say, he did have to kind of squeeze it there right at the end. He reeled you in, but to half a second. He was back 6.5 seconds, about 5 laps before this, before the white flag came out, and I thought you were kind of a sitting duck. You actually went in 2 laps later, I believe, than most of the other drivers out there. And you had damage on the back end of that car. Now, I wasn't able to kind of catch up what happened. How'd you end up with the damage on the back end of the 88?
It was I got together with one of the lap cars that put me up into the wall, and I was down on horsepower, so I was just limping around, just trying to get to the lap I wanted to get to, and then yeah, rest worked out.
Yeah, normally, man, when I get that kind of damage, it's so detrimental that I'm like, you know what, I gotta cut my losses. I gotta pit. Let's go ahead and pit, get it over with. Because I can't keep limping around this way. But being able to have enough discipline to continue staying out there until the mark you needed to hit was awesome. Talk to me about the track here a little bit, Dan. Is really kind of how did it feel different from the truck series to this series?
Entry is about the same, but you're dealing with a little more horsepower, so you gotta back the corners up a little more. But these cars are just as much fun as driving the trucks. I love them equally. But yeah, I think they did a reconfiguration of this track, but turn one is definitely tricky. But once you figure it out, it's a blast to drive.
Oh yeah, well they definitely took. It was a 2-stage amount of a turn, and I think they took out 8 degrees of banking, so it changes definitely the way the turns enter. And turn one really gets everybody slipping up. I think that's how our first caution ended up happening, was sliding out of 2. Guys just carrying that speed through and then just not being able to control it there toward the end. But still, fantastic job here, bud. Hopefully you were able to continue competing here at Thursday nights as well as Tuesday. I know you were second in points on the Tuesday night, and right now, so far, you'll be leading first in points here. So, dude, man, fantastic job tonight. Talladega is where we're at next week. How confident you feel?
Looking forward to Talladega. I love plate racing. Once you get the right group of guys you want to work with, it can be a blast. That's for sure. But congrats to everybody tonight, man. One caution. That's all we had. So that's definitely a huge improvement on the asphalt stuff.
Yeah, and especially with the 20-car turnout as well. But, man, dude, go ahead and give me your shout-outs, man. Let's go ahead and get you wrapped in, tucked in for the night.
Everybody at Spartan Racing, VMR Wraps, Weldstar Custom Fabrications, Roger for having the Coast2Coast Racing League, and for you putting on an awesome broadcast.
All right, awesome. Appreciate it, bud. And can't wait to see when I'll personally see you on Tuesday, man. Great job tonight.
Thanks, man. Cheers.
All right, everybody. Dan McLaren. That'll be the end for him tonight, guys. Tune in tomorrow to the Coast2Coast Racing League. I-55 is where they are going to be for the 358s, the limited late models, and the 305s for the Friday Night Gears Unlimited Friday Night Lights series. Those guys are going to be having an awesome job there, having a great time over there. I believe that is the Got Your 6 network, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it is. So you should be seeing Joe Halter there doing a fantastic job on his broadcast as well. But that is going to bring it up for Simtrack Broadcasting here tonight. Dan McLaren bringing the win, Aiden Young in second, and Neil Strausser up 13 positions, mover of the race into third. Fantastic job by all these guys. Unfortunately, we weren't able to catch up with Neil, but I'll end up catching up with you guys later, next week. On Tuesdays, Talladega will be the NASCAR race, and don't forget we've also got the midgets. We'll actually be running the wingless 360s, and then we'll have the 410 division. So don't forget to tune into that, but be well, be safe, be kind. Appreciate you joining us tonight, guys. Bye.